Vancouver-Langara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak to my motion relating to and supporting safety at our post-secondary institutions and campuses. As the member for Vancouver-Langara, I've spoken about this and advocated for many, many months, including since October 7th with the horrific attack by the Hamas terrorists. We've seen at Langara College, Professor Natalie Knight make statements to glorify the heinous and barbaric terrorist attack by the Hamas at the Vancouver Art Gallery Plaza on October 28th. There was a process that Langara College followed in reviewing that. But we know that even on that campus, in the riding that I represent for Vancouver-Langara, that most recently there have continued to be protests that have threatened the safety of students on that campus, even to the extent where, because there's no place to protest indoors, students have been blocked from attending their classes. We've had a report from a young woman who had to hide in the washroom at Langara College because of the fear and the intimidation she felt, and she had to miss her class. At the University of British Columbia, where I've been a former student body president and chair of the alumni board, I focused a lot of my attention as well with the new president of UBC. I wrote to him back in December, as I did with Langara College in November, to call out to ensure that our university and colleges are utilizing their codes of conduct to ensure that students, staff, and faculty feel safe in these places of learning. I know that even when we saw Hillel House being under attack, incidents of trespass, protest at Hillel House, a safe place for Jewish students at UBC. This government, even in the face of a proposed student referendum, did nothing in that. The University of British Columbia, like all of the other post-secondary institutions that are public, report to the Minister of Post-Secondary Education and Skills Training, Future Skills Training. I wrote to the former minister back in December to encourage this government to hold our universities and colleges accountable to be places of learning, to be free from that intimidation. And we know that now we've seen the spread of encampments on universities. UBC, now UVic, Vancouver Island University on the Nanaimo campus. And in the face of that, the government continues to do nothing. We've seen Charlotte Cates arrested for hate speech at a rally at the Vancouver Art Gallery, who recently praised the October 7th massacre of Jews by Hamas and is supporting these encampments on behalf of Samidoun. Samidoun has received government funding despite direct ties to as a listed terrorist entity in Canada to the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, otherwise known as the PFLP. While McGill University has requested police assistance to protect student safety, and the Quebec Premier had supported that, this provincial government continues to do nothing here in BC. When I wrote to both the Minister of Post-Secondary Education and the current president of UBC in December, I noted that under UBC's discipline for non-academic misconduct, student code of conduct, the physically aggressive behavior, assault, harassment, intimidation, threats, or coercion, conduct that threatens or endangers the health or safety of any person, conduct that creates conditions that endanger the health, safety, or well-being of any person, engaging in the conduct of vexatious conduct, or engaging in the course of vexatious conduct, harassment, or discrimination that is directed at one or more specific persons that is based on any of the protected grounds under the BC Human Rights Code, and engaging in unwelcome, persistent conduct that the student knows or ought to reasonably know would cause another person to feel demeaned, intimidated, or harassed. These are exactly the kinds of threats, intimidation that are occurring at the encampment at UBC right now. And now we're in day 5 or day 6, and yet this government does nothing to ensure that these publicly funded institutions are accountable to enforce their codes of conduct. They clearly need the help. The Vancouver Police Department doesn't have jurisdiction on university endowment lands. This provincial government does. It has the level of accountability. We know that there are faculty, student, and staff guidelines as well relating to UBC's policy number 3, discrimination and harassment. These are the policies that need to be enforced by the University of British Columbia. And we also know that in addressing anti-Semitism on campus, that as I've continued to call for over the last 7 years, in British Columbia, the IRA definition, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition for anti-Semitism, needs to be adopted and fully implemented in this province, and it is not. Not on these university campuses as well. And we know, Madam Speaker, under that definition, denying the Jewish people the right of self-determination by claiming that the existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor, calling for, aiding, or justifying the killing or harming of Jews in the name of racial radical ideology or an extremist view of a religion is also anti-Semitic. We need to have a clear understanding of anti-Semitism in this province. This government continues to fail in that. We need to ensure those students are safe because in a civil society, it affects all of us. When one person in any community is targeted for their identity or for who they are, we cannot stand for that in this province. We need a government to ensure that our students, our faculty and staff are safe and free from harassment and intimidation on our campuses, and to deal with these encampments on these universities right now. So I encourage the government to do so, and I look forward to the response from the government.
Thank you, member.